Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lew. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lew will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lew.
Good morning. This is Coach Lew coming to you live right here on Breakthrough with Lew. What are you doing today? What's the week look like for you? Are we ready for an amazing week? All right, well, today's show is about, is your GPS set? And you might be going, I'm not even driving, Coach. What are you talking about? Are you going on a trip? Maybe you're asking, hey, are we going on a trip somewhere, Coach? Yes, a trip called your life, okay? Your GPS is a metaphor for life, okay? So before we talk about this, let's just go into the past few weeks. You know, at the end of December, I'm going to go back before we started this New Year, New You series. At the end of December, we talked about the rolling start. Getting that rolling start into the year, not waiting till XYZ happens before we get going, not waiting until after Christmas, not waiting until New Year's, not waiting until, all the parties are over with and everything else. Let me ask you a question. Did you get sick over Christmas and New Year's or whatever holidays you happen to celebrate? And that's up to you. But did you end up sick or did you end up healthy? Did you get through it in a healthy fashion? Those are the questions to be asked and answered. That's going to talk about how well your rolling start did, as opposed to if you didn't have that rolling start. Then we rolled into the first week of January. We talked about goal creation versus resolutions. New Year's resolutions are something you do once a year, probably don't look at until next year. And goal creation is this thing where you create the goals, you create the things that you want, and then you create a plan. Today, we're going to allude into that plan a little bit. And then week 3 was the power of why. Why are you doing this? As we've all found out, we'll generally do more for those that we love and care about than we will ourselves. So using a higher power of why, whether it's your children, your spouse, your future spouse, your boss, your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your creator, whoever that is, generally that power of why is going to pull you from a stronger service of somebody else, a contribution, if you'd put it that way. Okay. And then week 4, I snuck in red light, green light. Why? Because I was sick. And I remember waking up with a throbbing headache and, and a little scratchy voice and stuffiness and going, I don't really want to do the show, and I did want to. The emotion was there. My desire to serve you was there. My ability to serve you at the top level was not so much there because, yes, I was not feeling well. So what could I do? So I threw in the show Red Light, Green Light to talk about, what are the red lights that stop you? What are the green lights that you go? But most importantly of that show was the yellow light. When that caution light comes on, in other words, when your body's tired, you're not feeling well, something doesn't feel right, you're not able to put your 100% in something, do you still push the throttle down and run through that light? And at some point, it gets to be a train wreck, an accident. Okay? So that was a pretty cool show, I thought. Now, today, we're going to talk about your GPS, your guidance-proven system, or your MAP, your massive action plan. And those are big words and big metaphors for simply saying, once you make all these decisions, number one, you have the clarity of the clear target. Okay, that was week 2. I don't know, I think I might have skipped that this morning. But you had your clarity. You were crystal clear what I want. That's called manifestation in a lot of cases. And, that's been touted as the big secret of, well, if you sit there and you manifest and you focus and you ohm enough, you're going to get it. Or if you sit in the parking lot and go, I'm going to get a parking space up front. That's why your butt's so big. That's why your gut's so big. That's why you can't move. That's why you're not getting towards your exercise goals. No judgment here, but if your biggest goal in life is to get the front row parking space at Walmart, I'm sorry, you're not doing your body any good. Walk that extra distance, okay? So getting that clarity, that clear target, is that manifestation. You've got to know what you're after. I want a silver Ford F-150 Lightning, this, that, the other, This is exactly the vehicle I want, is a lot better than going, I think I want some sort of truck. You're not going to really figure that one out. You're not going to really have a clear plan unless you have a clear target, right? So that's the number one. And not only do you have to have that clear target, and that's where you're going, you also have to get real. And I'm talking get real, raw, real here right now and go, where am I? Where am I starting? Okay? If you're going to drive from New York to Chicago and you're like, okay, and you go, okay, I'm going to get started and I'm going to start planning, but you're actually up in Vermont today as you're starting, well, you got to be honest with yourself, because you can run a map from New York to Chicago, and it'll tell you it's going to take you X amount of hours, let's say 9 hours. But if you're actually in Vermont and you're 4 or 5 hours from New York, you're going to have a problem telling people I'm going to be there at a certain time if your starting point is off. Okay? See, these are the things. Maybe you're talking about buying a house. You need, $12,000 to put down, just to keep these numbers easy for me so I don't have to do too much math this morning. So maybe you need $12,000 to put down on this house, and you go, okay, over the next 12 months, if I put $500 away, I'll have $6,000. Well, that's fine if you're starting with $6,000 put away for this. But if you don't have the $6,000 put away and you're going to put away $500 a month, you're not buying that house at the end of the year. You got to get real, bloody real where you're at today. Okay? And I know, and this is probably a teaching that's a little more in depth than what I should be talking about today, but it's the truth. You got to know exactly where you are. You got to know where you're going. You got to have that laser focused target. You got to know why the heck you're going to go there. And then sneaking in red light, green light wasn't a bad thing, because you got to anticipate some of the red lights. You got to know when you got the green lights to go, and you got to know when there's caution, and you got to go, you know what, something needs to be attended to here. Pretty interesting. Now we're going to talk about that GPS, Guidance Proven System, or Massive Action Plan. Okay, these are the things where you go with GPS, if you want to term it like that. You're following a plan, maybe from a mentor or something that's already been done. With a massive action plan, you might be more of a creating and going, okay, what now? How do I back into that? Well, if I want to be from New York to Chicago in, say, 8 hours, then where do I have to be every 2 hours along this journey to get there? Then you write that out and you map that out and you go, oh, well, that's pretty simple. I know if I'm in Schenectady, New York by X amount of time, I'm on schedule. If I'm not, I'm behind by X amount of time. I need to pick up time or adjust my arrival time. Make sense? Okay? So the cool part of it is this is how you get that power of why, combined with the clear target and then the actual steps to succeed. The action. Too many people sit around and go, ooh, kumbaya, I want $1 million. Well, that's great. Kumbaya it. Visualize it. Visualize how your life's going to look. I'm all about that. You've got to know, and you've got to have a burning desire. But then you have to get off that thing called your ass and take action. Oh, yeah, the A words. Let's go. Take action. Now, this is the hardest part for everybody, including myself. Don't think that I don't have to really sometimes springboard this myself. This is not always on autopilot. Now, there is a little secret that, by the way, next month, I'm too damn excited. I can't keep it away anymore. I have the huge live guest event, the goal creation and the number one secret on the 23rd of February. And I'm going to get you guys all the details how to get registered. It's free. You are free to attend. It is going to be an absolutely crazy event teaching you about goal creation and dumping out that number one secret that nobody tells you that's so important, that goes right along with goals. And it's so dang simple. But all right, I leaked it. It's out. We're doing this. So be there and be ready for that. So get signed up for that. I'll get you some links probably during the weekend on next week's show, because we're finalizing some of the production there. But the three keys to remember now is know where you're at, know where you're going, set a specific timeline. This will be your action items, your map, your GPS to get there. And remember something really important along the way. Who can be just as important as what? And you might go, well, what you do is very important. Yes. But who can you learn from that's been there already? Who can you model, and who can you leverage to? See, no matter where you're going, generally somebody's been there, done that, or is willing to provide help, guidance, mentorship on how to get there, or they have a service they sell to get you there. It's in coaching or a course to teach you how to do something. If you're going to learn how to do surgery, you don't want to go and just start practicing on people. You'd really probably want to take some education to learn from somebody who's already done surgery, but then you do have to start doing them yourself. You know, and I'm not saying without proper medical of that. I'm not saying go read a book about surgery and go try it. What I'm saying is you need to find those mentors. You need to find the people that have walked the path you're already going to path and go, how did they do it? And then put your own twist on it. You know, you don't just blindly follow. You know, it's funny. Tony just did a really amazing 5-day program, 5-day challenge, which was awesome. And, you know, I remember it just takes me back to your PW and leadership team with them and everything. And it's like, wow, you know, there's always these little new distinctions and so forth coming out. And, you know, people say, oh, blindly follow your fearless leader, your mentor. No. Probably 95% of what Tony teaches I'm on board with and really like. And then there's 5% that, you know, I do things a little differently, or I believe a little differently on that subject. And same thing with Dean, you know, Dean Graziosi. A lot of courses in that, a lot of mentorship has come from Dean. And 95% of that is all we're congruent, but there's always those little differences. You've got to have your brand of you. Now, you might say, well, I just work for people. What do you mean, my brand of me? Well, you don't have to have a business to have a brand. When you go to work each day, if you're just one of the masses and one of the faces in the crowd, you're not a brand. If you're the person that people say, wow, you know, you want to get something done, you go to him or her to get it done. You get this stuff done, right? So the key factor here is this. Don't let the outside world, don't let the politics, don't let the State of the Union, the COVID fears, the this, the that, all the crap that's been thrown on you in the past few years, don't let it set your map or your GPS. You have to be in control of this. You control it. Mapping your timeline and your plan is integral. It's got to be there. It's got to be written out and mapped out, okay? So that's an important part that has to happen. Yeah, hey, Sal, I appreciate your write-in this morning. Sal's on our site, and if you're not on our site, if you're on one of the alternatives, and I don't know if you're seeing chat on YouTube because it's giving me the red light, so I don't know. It says, good morning, Coach. What if my GPS is not calibrated? And Sal, as I said, I'd address this. So what is that? What I'm assuming you mean there is that your map or your GPS is not really set to take you to where you want to go. And let me tell you a quick story, and then this might sum it up for you, Sal. So if you leave New York and you get on an airplane flying to Los Angeles, plane goes up, knows where it's going, and you're going along and you're like, hey, straight line it right to LA, right? No, it's not a straight line, number one. Number two, they do need to know exactly where they're going. Exact coordinates of where we leave, exact coordinates within feet. We're not talking within a mile. We're talking within feet of the middle of that runway. So as they're going along, you hit some turbulence, some air, there's some other planes, they got to come up, they got to come down. They are off track 95% of the time. They're not on a straight trajectory. The deal is this: in air flight, whenever they get knocked off track a little bit, they just readjust it to get back on track to that final destination. It's the same way with your GPS or your map, Sal. If you go, okay, every 30 days I've got to, increase sales by 10% within 6 months to be able to buy this new building for my business, okay? And you notice that month one, you've only done 8%. Guess what? You got to adjust month two to ramp it up to get 12 or 13%. 12% is great. It evens you out. 13% would be great for the following month in case you fall a percent short. But you're always readjusting. Our GPSs and our maps for ourselves are a little different than in the cars. You don't sit there and go, oh, I stopped at a red light. Let me type that in my GPS. Okay, so yeah, your iPhone might be a little smarter than we are, but the deal is to be flexible enough to know that you have got to adjust as you learn and grow. You make new distinctions along the trip. There's sometimes things you can cut out because guess what? This thing that I'm doing that I think is part of my map, and because I wrote it on there, but it's not moving the needle, and if I make a little tweak here, it gets me there twice as fast. Why are you going to go back and do that thing that gets you there? It's only half as productive when you found a distinction that's going to get you there twice as fast. It would not make sense to still go through the motions of the useless portion. And it would make sense to do more of what's moving the needle and pushing you forward, right? And I hope that makes sense to you. It is adjust and tweak as you go by what's working. Sensory acuity. Notice what is working around you. It's pretty simple stuff, guys. See, the other thing is, okay, when it comes to creating these maps and so forth, I love tech, okay? Look around me. I love tech. I'm broadcasting to you on multiple stations, multiple channels at one time. Not only are we live here together on the site, not only are we live with you on YouTube and Facebook, live with you, then this automatically, well, not automatically, it takes some work, but becomes the podcast, which I don't have to go there and say, okay, Spotify, will you take this episode? Okay, Apple, will you take this episode? Okay, Google, will you take this episode? We have it set up, boom, that it goes on all of our stations, on all of the platforms that we're on, without having to redo each one each and every time. Wow, pretty damn cool. So what is that? That's called the joys of tech. Okay, when you set this up. Now, when something's wrong, the world goes crazy. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten on here and gone, because we had an audio malfunction. And it's always the best show or the best video that I'm shooting for one of the courses. It's always the best one that I had a snafu or the camera was on the wrong thing. And you're looking at my lead-in instead of me the entire show. And somebody finally comes on and says to me, are you aware? And I'm like, could you have told me this 15, 20 minutes ago, please? So, all right, long story short, I love tech. But sketching, mapping, handwriting, if you're learning and you're taking notes this morning going, hey, Coach has got some value here, I'm going to write down some notes, really helps you to envision and see the visual map and draw it out. And there's something about that kinesthetic connection of actually writing pen and paper style. And you go, yeah, but then, I use Google Calendar. Google Calendar is okay for a reminder service. But it's not a planning type of service, okay? It's not a planning software. It's just simply a calendar, okay? Hey, and then you got The big old paper planners, those are cool. You can write on them, sketch on them, put some stuff in them, da-da-da-da. There's some great ones that have all kinds of grids and this and that. And, so the problem is your dog can eat that. Or in my case, alligator, probably, or something like that. Might eat your map. Okay? Remember back in grade school, the dog ate my paper. Okay. But, seriously, or you could fall in a ditch, or you could set it somewhere and forget it, and it's gone. There's no backup. So what do you do? Well, here's what I do and what I found, and I've really looked at this. I use Key to Success Planner with OneNote, and you can use it with Scribe and all the other stuff too. They have many different versions. But I have the best of both worlds. I don't have that bulky planner that's going to get eaten by a dog or alligator or fall in the mud at a mud race. What I do have is the ability to write, box it in, color it in. It goes to all my devices because I really still prefer working on the computer for the most part, except for the handwritten. I like using the iPad. So it goes to all my devices. I can even see it on my phone. It's a calendar, it's a planning. They have all kinds of business planning, and it's amazing. So I'm going to get you the link for that in a minute. And Brandon, who created it's a really cool dude. Really cool family, man. Just good people out in the Midwest. Worked his butt off to create something that people can really use as a planning and creation tool, as well as a calendar and planning tool, so that you don't have to have a little piece here, a little piece there, a little piece there. Okay. So the great thing is if you guys are using that too, when we're doing trainings and so forth, it's easy to share ideas in our maps, if you will, because we're using a similar. So I am going to go ahead and put that in the links now. I'm going to tell you my FTA, FTP, whatever, FTC disclosure. I am an affiliate of Brandon's on that, but that came second after me using the planner. Actually, truth be told, Brandon did not have an affiliate program at the time when I started using his planner. I searched it out long and far to find something that would work, and I was like, oh my God, this is really it. This is the real deal here. But the deal was I was like, I'd really like to incorporate this in a lot of my training. And so shortly after that, boom, there he is. He's got the affiliate program. So I get a small commission if you use my link. So please use my link. Not getting rich on it, but you know what? The show costs production money. In time and equipment and everything else, and it helps me keep those costs offset to keep bringing you content like this without going, well, I want you to join a membership to do this. So on that note, though, I've got exciting news. One more thing. And you're like, of course there is, Coach. Isn't there always one more thing? Hey, wouldn't you rather I over-deliver to you than under-deliver? So one more thing coming up. Coach Lew Inner Circle, the click, is born. It is live. The framework is up for it. And if you don't know what it is, it's going to be a monthly live training, an interactive training, and trainings every week, along with all kinds of training programs and everything all in one hub for you, so that we can have a group that is a community. Not just, hey, I'm going to watch you once a week on Monday, but this community, it's amazing. But I'll give you more details on that too. Again, I'm letting too much out of the bag today. I'm jumping ahead of tech side of getting everything totally ready for you, but these are things that are coming, guys. So on last note, race this weekend was awesome. I almost didn't go. And it became really clear out on the course. I was like, I'd been sick for the week before, caught that stupid cold going around. No, it wasn't COVID or anything. No deathly. But, knocked my training off. And, I hurt my hand. And I was like, well, maybe I should put this one off. And I was like, no. And you get out there, and sometimes we get so caught up in the race of a race or life as a metaphor. And I learned something this weekend. It was like, yeah, a race, you're designed to knock it out and get to the finish line. But it's what happens between the start and the finish that's the real experience. that really the connections, the things you do, the things you notice, the things you see, the aha moments, the wins, the quote unquote fails, the just all the amazement is the during, the doing, the action stage. Go figure. We're talking about setting your actions and so forth. And next week we're going to talk about action, baby. Next week's show is all about actually putting forth that action and how to keep yourself doing the action. And yeah, where's my timer on this morning? Where are we at? Okay, we still got, all right, we're running out. But yeah, I'm respective of your time, guys. I would talk to you all day long. But these are the things that next week we're going to really, really meet. The rubber's going to meet the road, where we're going to go ahead and take that action and follow through and find what it is that keeps you going on that action. And so always look around you and go, what's wonderful? What's awesome? What can I do to make it better? What can I do to enjoy it more? Wow, what a cool concept. Instead of going, the time I'm going to enjoy this is when I'm done. See, in life, the race of life is a metaphor for you. You're born, you start going, and it goes faster, and you go faster, and you go faster as you go. And everybody's headed for this destination called retirement, when I no longer have to go slave on the treadmill or do this, that. I mean, I've heard it all. And generally, most people die a year after they retire. So just saying, retirement is an end point unless you have something else to go for. Now, in some jobs, you must retire. But it doesn't mean you retire your soul, your heart and soul, your involvement, your action. But use that as a metaphor for anything you're doing to make sure that, whether it's a 2-month goal, a 6-month goal, a 6-year goal, a 60-year goal, that everything in the middle of that feeds you, feeds your growth, feeds your contribution, feeds your learning, your soul, your energy, your enjoyment. Guys, life is way too short. We've seen way too many people dropping off lately, way too young, and going, I wonder if at their last breath, if they said, I lived the most amazing life ever, and I wouldn't do anything different, or if they had regrets and said, wait a minute, I had so much more I wanted to do. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be that person that hits the end and goes, wow, that was amazing? Or do you want to be the person that's scrambling, going, no, please, no, I didn't. And then when you face your maker, your God, do you want them to go, wow, you really, really lit up, you took my gift and ran with it? Or do you want to go kind of embarrassed? Which life is for you? That's what I'm doing all these for. This is what these series are for, to get you to live the best life ever. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean you don't F up once in a while. Doesn't mean you always make the right choice, that you always are the perfect person and you never, no. It just means you take action, especially when it's uncomfortable. You take action. You think outside of the box. You don't necessarily box yourself in. Society's got plenty of rules for you. You want to be boxed in. Jail's a perfect example. But not being in a jail cell doesn't mean you're not jailed. Some people are in jail cells and they're free. Not many, but they've freed their emotions. Some lifers have actually gotten it so together that they're more free in there than they ever were in the world they were in outside of there. But let's not jail yourself in, whether it's in your career, your relationships, your goals, what you have to share with the world. You're a unique individual. Okay, and we're not always going to agree. Okay, the one thing I will say on this show, I think everybody knows, if you know me, you know my beliefs are pretty strong about what I believe in, and freedom and freedom of speech and freedom to be you. But that freedom goes across all lines. Okay, so if I feel that I need to be free to continue my free speech and my ability to have my show and say what I want and speak the truth, well, you have the freedom to be you and speak who you are too. Even if I don't agree with you, I defend that. to the death. And that's all I think in this world, if we all looked at each other and said, you know what? I might not agree with you. You know, I don't necessarily like how you say it or do it or this, that, or the other. But I respect your freedom to be able to speak your mind. Believe in however you want to call your creator. Believe in what you want to do for a living. Believe in who you want to love, how you want to love, where you want to live, and everything else, and what you want to do for a career, and what you want, and what your mission is. To make a few bucks is not a mission. I highly suggest success. I am all about success. Because you can't help anybody if you don't have some sort of level of success. If you're broke just because you want to help your broke friends and your broke upbringing, and I'm going to be broke like you to support you, you're not supporting anything. If you can make enough money to where you can give, and I'm not talking about handouts, I'm talking about create things that help other people grow, oh, that's an awesome thing. Because some of the fallacies of money doesn't grow on trees. Well, it depends what kind of trees you plant. You ever go get a Christmas tree lately? That's money growing on trees for somebody, baby, because they are not cheap anymore. But when you think about it, you hear the other thing is money's evil. Really? Tell that to a parent whose child needs a surgery, and that money that got donated or they've saved, and they've saved their child's life because of that money. Ask them if money's evil. I don't think so. So money's not evil. Money just amplifies who and what you are. Jimmy Jackson, good morning, brother man. I see you on this morning. But money just amplifies who you are. If you're fearful, you're going to be twice as fearful when you have more money. You're going to be afraid you're going to lose it. If you're a loving person, you're going to be more loving when you're a wealthier loving person, right? You're going to, if you're successful in your business, yeah, greed is evil. Amen. And greed does not mean the desire to grow. You can be very rich and not greedy. Right, Jimmy? Because Jimmy's rich. Whether it's money or whether it's heart or somewhere in between. My man Jimmy is one of the most kindest, supportive people I have ever seen. And he's been up, down, and sideways with some stuff this year. He's triumphed. Right, Jimmy? You have triumphed this year and overcome some health stuff and that. But never, 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 never grimaces are down, always there for how can I brighten somebody else's day. And there's a prime example. I'm glad you're on, Jimmy. You're a prime example. Sorry I'm using you as an example, but always finds a way to compliment somebody or do something that makes everybody's day a little brighter that comes in contact with them. And that's what we got to learn and go with is how can you make yourself better so that you can shine that out to others. And I'm not being all woo-woo and shit on you guys. You know that I'm pretty, I call it like it is. And you're like, Coach said shit. Yes, I did. Because I don't believe that if you're the kind of person that was offensive, when I do something like that for a little bit of a shock factor to get you moving and get you thinking, then you're probably not the person that really is going to follow through with stuff we do on the show. If you're the person that goes, yeah, cool, Coach is real. Of course I'm real. You know what I really want? I want your success. The best way you can show me that this is worth the time and effort I put into doing the show each and every week is to see you succeed at your next level. Now, you may measure that more financially. You may measure that more in love. You might measure that more in happiness. I'm not here to tell you what the numbers or what the this or what levels that is, but it's got to be a level where you feel that your life is that much better that you have some room to help somebody else's life be better. When you're able to give over and above, or when you're able to teach something, if you learn something really great from me, and that's great, and you put it to work and you go, oh, that's pretty cool, it kind of works. But when you can turn around and teach that to somebody else, that's where the real life's blood and juice of it is. Teaching's awesome. One last thing, of course, Coach, there is one last thing. I know you're rolling your eyes, I can see y'all. All right, so the deal is, when I was a kid, and I always, one of the things I want to be, besides a firefighter, a cop, military man, an astronaut. I always wanted to be a teacher. And, as I quickly found out, I'm like, for what they get paid? Hell no, to deal with these little snotty-nosed brats. And I'm like, I am one of those snotty-nosed brats. No, seriously, being a teacher was always part of it. It was always a passion. I got to grow up and do it. That's what I'm doing right now, and with the courses and everything. Now, do I auction? Am I still an auctioneer? Yeah. Do I still, have resale and so forth? They just all kinds of stuff I get to do. I don't have to do. I get to do this. Once I look at it as get to do it, now, if I stop doing it, I'm screwed. But so yes, I have to get up and work and do stuff and create income and create value. But I get to do this. And the reason I say that is because I want to see you shift that each and every day. What do you get to do instead of have to do? You might go, well, I have to do this. But is it taking you to where you want to be? Does it give you a little bit of happiness? Does it give you some pride, satisfaction? Then you get to do it. If you stop looking at what you have to do and start toning it with what you get to do, wow, that's a big difference. All right, I went way out of course today, guys, but I really, my timer's telling me to shut up and let you guys go to work. Yes, I have a little sarcastic side, but hey, let's have some fun with this. But get out there today, and as we always say, and this is not something I created, woo-wah. I mean, this is something that all my mentors do and that I've ever worked with, anybody I've ever taken courses. Anybody that's successful takes something and goes, okay, this is great knowledge, and takes immediate action. You can build up a repository of knowledge, and what? You're smart. You know a lot of stuff. Well, there's people under bridges that are damn well smart. I've talked to some homeless people that are super intelligent and can't find their next meal. Then I've known some people that aren't so bright. Just really, there's no natural glow going on up here. It's, but they've made some distinctions and they take action and grow. And next thing you know, they're shining the brightest. They're the brightest star in the sky. It's not what you were born with. It's what you do with what you got. And do being the key word. Action, 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 action. That's next week's show. Action, baby. So be on Monday morning, 8 a.m. I promise it'll be a little quicker than this morning. And get over to Brandon's site, guys. Again, if you need the link, get a hold of me. That is so true, Jimmy. It is not a job if you enjoy it. But you can enjoy your job. Got you a little twist there, buddy. But seriously, go over to Brandon's site, get that planner. It's not going to break the bank. It's very inexpensive for what you got. But that way, as we do trainings throughout the year, or you get on the event, oh my God, the 23rd, 7 p.m. But we'll get you the registration links for that. Guess how much it costs? Free, guys, because I want you guys to have some of the tools that have gotten me through some of the biggest hurdles that I've gotten through in life. There's a lot of experience to teach you. All right, I am going to let you go. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always live your dreams. Have an amazing day. I'll see you guys on the next roundabout.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lew himself. As Coach Lew always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dream.